Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and joining me yet again for the third time. This is definitely really good for me, man, and I'm glad that you're here as well, Tyson. Everybody, welcome from Let's Talk Jets Radio, Tyson Rauch. How you doing, Tyson?
What's up, man? You're making moves over there. You're doing all kinds of shows and podcasts and interviews. You're a man of the people right now.
Yeah, I'm trying the best I can, man. I mean, we talked about this before. It's all about passion for me at the end of the day. I can't get enough of this shit. Matter of fact, let me peel back the curtain a little bit. I'm actually on vacation right now for my day job, and I still have like a bunch of recordings this week. I'm not stopping with this shit. I may stop with my day job, but I'm not stopping this.
Continuity and consistency is key, man. Especially with this kind of stuff. It's just keep cranking out. Especially if you enjoy it, man. It's not work then. It's not a job. It's just it's a passion that you keep exploring. It's perfect.
Right. Yeah. So let's get right into it, man. Bro, we got to talk about it. 6-3 Jets. How about that, man? Who'd have thunk it? I certainly didn't expect this. I mean, Vegas already had us at 5.5 games this season. We already beat that. We surprised a lot of people. It seems like the only ones that are not surprised are the ones in the locker room and in the organization. So, what's been your whole take on the season so far? Now that we're in the bye just finished, but now, what's your predictions for the rest of the season? What are we feeling?
This is so exciting, man. For the first time in probably a decade, like the Jets are relevant. They're in the playoff mix. Meaningful games in November. We haven't said that in probably a decade. It's just great, man. But you can talk playoffs. You could say make a run at the AFC East, and it's all feasible. It's like the Jets have a very good defense that'll keep you in any game. So, dude, there's endless opportunities here for this team. And it's just fun, man. It's a fun team. It's a young team. They're exciting. They're passionate. They're playing hard week in and week out. So it's just enjoying the ride, man.
Yeah, man, I got to agree with you, man. I mean, I remember earlier in the season, in the off season, I mentioned to you and everybody else that I want to live in a world where, not the best, like, I don't want to live in a world where the best part of our season is the off season. And now for the first time, and I think maybe since 2015, we could say that we're in November and now we're playing meaningful games. I mean, this is great.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's tangible, man. It's not like these aren't Band-Aids or stopgap guys. These are young playmakers that are merging and building right in front of our eyes that they're going to be here next year. They're going to be here in 2 years.
Yep.
This is a tangible blueprint for success that can work. And the fact they're growing together. Like these young pieces are all doing it together. Like this is the perfect scenario. It's rebuilding, growing, and winning all together. It's just perfect.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I mean, this defense is something to behold, and I gotta give an apology personally to Sauce Gardner, because when he got picked 4th overall, I wasn't upset about it. I was just really wanted an edge rusher because I feel like that was like the most important piece that we needed in our defense. And I'm like, all right, I mean, he's very highly touted, but I personally would have preferred an edge rusher, especially the one that the Giants got. But man, I owe him an apology, man, because he's I don't even think it's possible. I think it's definitely that he's right now running for Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year.
He's been amazing, dude. He's playing at a Pro Bowl level. Like he's just been as advertised and probably better, and he's only going to get better. Like, and I think a lot of people don't realize. Like, I think DJ Reed's been the perfect mentor for him, man.
Yes,
and DJ Reed's playing a Pro Bowl level as well. But to have that guy there with him, day one at camp, working with him, technique, leadership, helping with film study, and it's so much fun to watch. And that's your future, man. That's you have corners like that. You can do whatever you want in terms of blitzes, pass rush, all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah. And, especially considering last year, and then also at the beginning of the season, especially the first 3 games, a lot of people were really skeptical about this coaching staff. And even in the back of my mind, there was really frustrating for me. But at the same time, I just wanted to hold out this hope for Robert Saleh. Like, I don't know. I just felt like I just needed to hold on there a little bit, and then he could prove us all wrong. And then with the whole, comments about we're taking receipts, I know everybody blew up about that. Me personally, I got to be honest with you, I loved it, because if not for nothing, it was more like he was taking the heat off of the rest of his team and then putting it on himself. And I don't think that we realized that at the time. And so far, they've been able to back it up, man. I mean, if Stephen A., Brady Quinn, we need to see your receipts already at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think going into the season, the biggest question was Ulbrich and the defense. They were historically bad last year, and it was like, what are we going to see? What is your scheme? And now you have talent. You better maximize it and show us what you really have. And they've shown us. And the defense has been incredible. Pass rush, getting turnovers, and Saleh as a coach is mature too. Like, he started off this season rough, dude, and that receipts thing took the pressure off his team and put the radar right on himself, the bullseye on himself, and he's backed it up. And I give him a lot of credit, man. Game management, time management. This team is playing for him week in and week out, and they bought into his message. They're playing with passion. They're playing with pride. and the all gas no break thing. We used to make fun of it, and now you know what it is. But now you're seeing it. They're ground and pound on offense, and they're physical and fast on defense, and that's you got to give them all credit, especially Ulbrich, man, because we were having almost every person we interviewed before the season, like, he'll be fired by week 8, he'll be fired by week 9. Everybody was saying that, and now it's like, look at them, best defense in football, one of them, top 5.
Yeah.
Know?
Now, let me ask you this. What do you think is more important? The fact that we just make it to the playoffs and then we've proved that we're there, or do you think it's more important that we win the division?
Man, both are great. I mean, both are phenomenal accomplishments for a young team, man. That's just, I mean, winning division, that's mind-blowing, considered we only won it a couple times, you know? Both would be great opportunities, man. Winning division is something else, though. That's an enormous accomplishment. Doesn't happen very often for the New York Jets.
No, it doesn't. I mean, when was the last time it happened for us? 2002?
We figured, they went up with what, Parcells? They went with Herm?
No, with Herm, yeah. Like 20 years ago. I was still in high school when that shit happened, man. No, I'm really excited, man. Those wins, especially in Miami and Buffalo, was really exciting for me, especially the last one. Obviously, the one in New England left a sour taste in everybody's mouth, including mine. But we have a shot at redemption this coming up next week. And how do you feel if you're the coach of that team? What are you saying to your players that how bad we need to get this game?
This game is monumental, man, for a variety of reasons. For, the playoffs, tiebreakers are a conference record. If you want to talk AFC East, division record's really important. So in both facets of that, this game's important. Also, it's revenge. You don't want to get swept by the Patriots. I think this game is already on the radar, man. After the win over the Bills, they're all saying, we want payback. We want revenge. Because they know they gave the game away with Zach's interceptions and the special teams and the penalties. And they know they got to get this game back. They know it. And it's really, really important, man. I'm not going to say it's going to make or break your season, but if you win this, you're taking a big step forward in terms of making the playoffs, man. It is. It's huge. So I think, and then the other thing too is solid. Like, all the bulletin board stuff's there. They're considered underdogs. I think, what is it, 3 points or 4 point underdogs in New England. So nobody's still buying into them. You know what I mean? Like, there's still, you can keep saying everybody's doubting you. Just keep fueling their fires. But coming off a bye, they're rested. They're going to be prepared. I think you're going to get a great effort, man. I think they know what's at stake right now.
Yeah, and even, they've been able to – one of the things that I appreciate Saleh talking about, especially way early on in the season, even around the time when he got hired, he always mentioned something about knowing to face adversity when it's staring at you in the face. And one of the things that I appreciate about the season is they actually have faced adversity, whether you want to talk about, the refs, screwing us over, or the loss to AVT and Breece Hall, who was having a great season, man. And I was really upset when he went down, both of them actually. But they've been able to overcome it and go through adversity and still win these games, and convincingly. And I think that's the real culture changer, for lack of a better term, in my opinion.
Yeah, they have a refuse to lose mentality. They're one of the best fourth quarter teams in football. I mean, Buffalo got ahead. Like, they come back. They're relentless, man. I think they're in great shape. They're conditioned and they're ready. And they believe, man. They all believe they can do it. And they've proven it week in and week out, man. Like, they'll face adversities, injuries, bad penalties, blown whatever. Like, you think even like the sky cam with the Bills, like, oh, right? But like something like that. Like, that's a game the same old Jets would blow it. And you have an excuse to lose it, and they didn't lose it. Like, they keep proving us wrong all the time. And it's great. It's like, it's something on your resume now. So when they face that moment again next week, like, dude, we just did this 2 weeks ago. We won this. We can win this game. They all believe.
Yeah, one narrative that really kind of pissed me off, especially earlier in the season when we were winning these games, is the fact that people were saying, like, perfect example, oh, you guys only beat the Dolphins because it was against a third-string quarterback. And I'm like, listen, do you realize that only a couple of years ago, the Jets got blown out 40 to 10 from a quarterback that wasn't even in the league 10 days prior to them signing? He wasn't even a fourth string at that point, and they got absolutely strafed at home. Those are the type of games that the Jets usually would lose anyway. So I don't want to hear that excuse that, oh, you're only facing a third-string quarterback, or Russell Wilson was hurt, or it's not the same old Rodgers. Bro, I don't want to hear any of that, because usually we would lose these type of games when it's right there for us. And going into this game right here, so I mentioned before that I trust the defense. That's without a doubt. Saleh and the coaching staff has instilled a lot more trust in me, and their grades are definitely getting higher up. And the offensive weapons look like they're, being playmakers in the making. But I got to be honest with you, man. I have a little bit of trepidation about Zach Wilson. I know that he's like all eyes are on him, and he's essentially only played one full season, counting the injuries that he didn't get to play in the games that he didn't get to play. But it's just those stupid mistakes. I mean, I truly believe that Patriots game we could have easily won. I don't even like to say that the Patriots won the game. I would like to say that we lost because if you take those interceptions away and then afterwards you can argue about the whole referees taking away the pick six for Michael Carter, whatever. It is what it is. We can't look into the past anymore. But my point is that I trust almost every aspect of this team, but I still have a little bit of trust issues, for lack of a better term, with Zach Wilson. I mean, he really has to. I'm not asking to be like a Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or anything like that, but he has to prove to me that he can eliminate some of these mistakes that he still continues to make.
I mean, the Buffalo game is exactly what you want to see out of him. Like, just play within the offense, get rid of the football, put the ball in the hand of your playmaker, spread it around, and then use your legs as an asset. Like, roll out. If it's not there, just run for it. Run for the first down, get the 4 or 5 yards, and live for another day. Like, live for another play. You don't need to be a hero. You don't need to be a superstar. And those opportunities are going to come, dude. Like, the Buffalo, that's what we want to see. That game was it. That's the way he should play because they have enough talent around him to get just to make plays. So stay within himself, and if he can do that, I think they'll be fine. I'm in the same boat, dude. Like I was disappointed in the Patriot game. I was to the point where I was ready to bench him during the game, the Patriot game. Like, you know what? I'm like, this is enough. Like at the third interception, I'm like, take him out. Let Mike White play, and then the Bills game, be completely transparent. I'm like, if Zach mightily struggles in the first half, take him out because his team is too good to waste games with bad quarterback play. Now, if he's throwing interceptions that are hotly contested, like and like Garrett Wilson's fighting for it, they just miss out. That's one thing. But if you're reckless with the football and you're haphazard, you got to come out because you're hurting the team then. And he didn't do it. The Bills game is what you want to see more of. Hopefully, he learns and realizes that's the way this offense should run. If he does that, they'll be fine, dude. Like because the running game, like the running game's improving. James Robinson's a good pickup.
Yeah.
And, the defense will give you, they're going to give you time of possession. They're going to give you all these things. So, but that's the missing piece, man. Zach Wilson is the piece. It's just like the way he goes is the way they're going to go. Because what's going to happen now, especially with Belichick, they're going to say, you know what? The Jets want to run the ball. We're going to stop it. Can Zach beat us? What is Zach going to do to beat us? Is he going to, is he going to manage the offense or is he going to have turnovers? And that's going to say how they win and lose this year.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. I don't think I've ever asked you this question before, and I'll be honest here with every other Jet fan that's watching. One, before Zach Wilson came into the league, I was still kind of in the mindset that maybe we should give Sam Darnold another chance with a new coaching staff, kind of a fresh start, especially with the horrendous coaching staff that he had early in his career. But it looks like I was wrong on that aspect. I mean, look how he stunk it up in Carolina right now. But the point that I'm getting at is that I was kind of hesitant about Zach Wilson. The guy that I really wanted was Justin Fields, and look how he's starting to develop before our eyes and everything. But at the end of the day, I got to roll with my quarterback and so on and so forth. But the point that I'm making is that I didn't always have the biggest faith, for lack of a better term, in Zach Wilson. Like he was not the ideal guy that I wanted when we first drafted him. What was your take? Like, were you all in on Zach, or did you have any trepidation at all before we drafted him?
That's a really good question. I like Justin Fields. I just love the player that he is, the athletic ability of throwing. Everybody loves him now for all the running he's doing, but it's just he's had a rough year
61 yards.
Yeah. But I mean he had a monster game yesterday, but it's just like Zach his arm talent is rare. And then when I went to practice and watched him make some of the throws, you're like, this kid's got legitimate, unique talent that we've never seen before. He's made throws that we've never seen before as Jet fans. I mean, I watched Favre play in person. I've seen all these things. His arm talent is ridiculous. He's a great athlete. It's just your biggest concern is the competition. What competition did he play? And coming to this market where if you're a quarterback in New York Jets, dude, you're walking into a firestorm. The media is always looking for something, and this fan base is impatient. And if you struggle like he has, we're going to write you off because we've seen so many bad quarterbacks before him, right? We went through Sam Darnold, who I'm glad was gone. Then you went to the Hackenberg and Bryce Petty and the rise and fall of Mark Sanchez and Geno Smith. Like we've seen it all. So it's just you want to believe, you want to buy in, and he's got a lot of really good things about him that you think will help him. But we'll see. Time will tell. Like the whole Justin Fields thing now is funny because now I'm getting all the "I told you so"s. I'm like, all right, listen, he's running the ball like crazy. It's great, but where does he go from here? So it's going to be interesting, man. We'll see.
Yeah. I watch all your videos as always, and I recommend that everybody that is a Jets fan, especially watch Let's Talk Jets Radio on YouTube. I was also I was about to leave a comment or I think I did leave a comment in one of your last videos. And, I was reading through the comments, and then you had maybe one or two people that were saying, one in particular that comes to mind, where they were like, hey, Tyson, why do we need to start talking playoffs already, man? Why can't we just take it one game at a time and so on and so forth? And I think the reason it sticks out to me more is because he misspelled your name, like he butchered it, and then you put him in his place by correcting it. And then afterwards, you made your rebuttal. So I guess the question that I want to ask you is, like, what do you say to all the rest of those people that are a little bit skeptical, or they're being too cautious about even talking about the possibility of playoffs?
It's understandable, dude. 'Cause we expect the same old Jets to come back and haunt us. We expect the failures and the demise and everything else, but facts are facts. You're 6-3. Like, you literally can go 4-4, dude, and make the playoffs. Like, you're there. Like, this is, and it's like week in, week out, we're like, can't do this, can't do that. They're proving us wrong. And their formula, great defense, run the football, and play solid special teams, will win you football games. And you look at the remaining games. Like, I hate, my biggest concern is everybody's assuming the rest of the schedule is going to be easy, and it's not by no means. I think there's games that are going to be a lot harder than people realize. But you look, just say, in theory, the Lions are not a very good team. The Jaguars aren't a very good team. The Bears aren't a very good team. That's 3 right there. In theory, right? The Seahawks and Vikings are tough, but you beat the Patriots, so you get 7 wins. Like, it's like, to me, like, I just want to be a fan. I really like for 6-3, and I see a lot of really positive things. I think the fair expectation is playoffs. So if you don't want to talk about it, it's fine. But in the back of mind, you're thinking it, right? Like, so why not just say it? Like, it's just right? Like, I'm not going to jinx to say playoffs. But meanwhile, you watch yesterday football all day long. Every playoff little seeding mix, whatever, the Jets are featured in it. So what? We're just going to ignore it and say it's not there? It's there. So I'm embracing it, and the one thing is, and you mentioned it earlier, was like, what, going into the season, people said, what, we'll be happy with 6 or 7 wins, maybe 8 wins. We'd be happy with that.
I was one of them, yeah.
Right, me too. I was like 8 wins, maybe not, whatever. But expectations change as the season plays out. Then look at the Bengals last year, and I'm not saying Jets are going to Super Bowl, but when things change, if you're, instead of being 3-6, you're 6-3. At 6 wins with 8 to go, you're saying, what, win 4 of them, win 3 of them. Win, like, you should have at least a winning season, and if not, 10 wins. And like, it's fair, man. Like, this is where I'm getting rid of that negative, same old Jet fan mindset and saying, what, this team deserves the benefit of doubt right now. And you're gonna you embrace it, right? Like, it's nothing. There's nothing wrong to being positive about your team. Like, we're so used to being negative and angry about the Jets that we don't know how to handle success. Like, we're like, like, social media is wild right now, but like, it's okay to say, what, this should be a playoff team. It's completely fine.
Yeah. Hey, listen, my expectations have definitely risen, as they should. And I'm not just like you, man. I'm having fun with this. I can't remember the last time that I had this much fun as a fan, even just enjoying football this time around. I mean, bro, let's be honest. The last couple of years, around this time of year, we'd be already discussing who we're going to draft or what position draft we're going to get, or, God forbid, talk about, oh, maybe Zach isn't the answer after all. We got to think of quarterback. But no, I'm glad that we're actually enjoying meaningful football games, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks. And this is going to be a lot of fun, man. And I don't want to put this kind of negative energy out there, but listen, the reality is we're not going to win every single game going forward. But for the ones that we unfortunately will not win, we at least want to see some competitive football, which I think we have been seeing for the most part.
Well, that was the goal. We said, we want to say you win 8-9 games, be competitive in November, December, play a full 4 quarters, and show us that there's building blocks. So there's development and progression with the coach, with the quarterback, and with the team. And you're seeing all of it, dude. Like, there's a lot of improvement and progress where you could say, what, at the end of this year, yes, this is step 2 of the rebuild. I mean, you go to playoffs, that's a huge step, but there's a lot of really good things. And again, like, I get the fans that are skeptical and worried. But to me, it's like, we've been bad for so long. I'm going to enjoy every second of it, and I'm going to embrace the positivity and say, what? Go for the playoffs. Like, go for the AFC East. Why not? You beat the Bills. You beat the Dolphins. You should have beat the Patriots. It's in front of you, dude. It's literally in front of you to take a run at it.
Exactly. No, I'm 100% agree with you on there. I'm just having fun, man. I'm having a great time. And, I love the fact that not just I'm enjoying it myself, but I love the fact that I'm able to enjoy this time with my fellow Jet fans as well. I mean, it's a beautiful feeling, man. It's finally nice to actually go over to a friend's house and actually have that feeling of winning instead of just talking all this trash about how we need to get rid of everybody and so on and so forth. So a lot of credit to the coaches, a lot of credit to the players, definitely a lot of credit to Joe Douglas, because he's the one that's, to me, is the architect of this whole thing. He deserves a lot of credit for what's going on. Who would you say has been the most surprising player on the team so far to you? Like this been exploding off the page like, whoa, I did not see that coming.
I mean, the entire rookie class has been really, really impressive. I mean, obviously Sauce and even Jermaine Johnson's doing a lot of good things.
Yeah.
To me, probably the most surprise is DJ Reed. Like I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was this good. And he is a lockdown Pro Bowl corner. And keep in mind, people kind of forget that after that one bad loss, he talked about communications on defense. He was pissed. Like the problems on defense, we got to fix it. We got to do that. And dude, since then, the problems are gone. Like there's like two moments. It was him and when Quinn Williams got mocked by Ulbrich in that press conference.
Yes.
Quinn Williams went on a rampage, and DJ Reed mentioned that, and all the communication issues got cleaned up on the defense. So to me, I think the biggest surprise is how good DJ Reed really is. Like the rookies, we all expected a lot. Like like we thought Garrett Wilson was gonna be good, but to me, I'd have to say Reed.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. And this is a little bit flying under the radar as well. But from the offensive line, Nate Herbig, he's actually been not so bad at all. He's actually been a really good pickup. Nobody saw that coming. Matter of fact, I remember I was actually watching the game. I'm like, oh shit, we actually got Herbig. When did that happen? I didn't get that news notification. But yeah, no, he's been big, especially filling in the hole for AVT with that unfortunate injury. But listen, at the end of the day, no matter what, I'm just gonna enjoy the season and ride it out to the best of I can, and I just hope that they could just build on from this from next year. I don't want to think about next year already just yet. I just want to put out there that however the season ends, when it does, I just hopefully that we can build that and then finally build a winning culture and a team that we could all be proud of, because the direction's already going up.
And I think the other person that should get a lot of credit is the offensive line coach, Benton, because look at all the adversity he's dealt with. He dealt with Becton going down, George Fant going down, Dwayne Brown getting hurt, AVT going down, and they still have a power running game. Like they're still doing things like which just like smoke and mirrors, it seems like. But Herbig's a really good call, dude. That's a really good mention. But the offensive line coach has got to get a lot of credit, dude, because they're like they stole the soul out of the Bills in that last game. They stole the soul out of the Packers. Like the offensive line is literally wearing you down. Like the Bills game, dude, they're running the ball and you knew it was coming and they couldn't stop it, which is when was the last time that's like old school Rex Ryan stuff right there. So
yeah,
it's wild.
Well, LaDainian Tomlinson and Sean Green, I mean, you couldn't stop the run.
Yep.
What a time to be alive. Just enjoying the season. And are you going to any games later on this season?
Man, I want to go on Sunday. I want to go Jets Patriots in Foxborough, but we'll see, man. Week by week. I have a funny feeling that Dolphin game at the end of the season is probably going to mean something. So go down to sunny Florida, watch Jets Dolphins will be fun. So definitely figure something out,
Yeah, I might go to that game too, because I'm already getting invites, because I told you I've lived in Miami before, and I have a bunch of Dolphin fans, and I already have some of them extended an invite because they we all want to be there for it, but we'll see what happens. I definitely want to go to the Bears game because one of my friends talked about getting a whole group of people there, so I may or may not go to that one. We'll see. So switching gears here. So the formula that pretty much we've been focused with every time you come on my show is like, first we talk a little bit of Jets, and then we talk about the other things that we feel are more important. So this actually was really another reason to really ask you to come on my show once again, because you posted a video not too long ago, I think it was earlier this week or last week, where you wanted to get off topic and talk about like mental health and so on and so forth, especially due to the fact that the holidays are now here. And I'm really glad that we kind of have an opportunity to talk about this, because last year I did have an episode with my friends Catalina and Natalie, shout out to them, and we were actually talking about the subject, and I thought it was such a great topic, but I also realized that when it comes to the specific subject of mental health, this is something that always has to keep on going, keep on talked about. Don't let it slow down, because it's something that's still an ongoing thing and so on and so forth. So we want to keep the message going out there, and I just felt like it was a perfect time to bring you on, not just because of the Jets bye and recap the first half of the season, but also get into the subject of mental health again, which I never get tired of talking about, especially with you, because you make valid points and I love your advocacy and so on and so forth. But I agree with you that the holidays are always going to be a vulnerable time. I've been through it. I'm pretty sure you've been through it. So explain to my audience a little bit more about your thoughts on this.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you talk about it, Duke. It's really, really important, man. It's something that a lot of people suffer in silence, and you want to have an environment where people can talk about it and they feel comfortable discussing this stuff. It's not frowned upon, man. People need help, and it's a change of seasons, man. You go from the summer, the fun, all the daylight. It gets darker earlier. The holidays, which should be a festive time for a lot of people, and you go on social media and all you see is happiness, 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 and you don't share those same feelings, and it's just it can overcome a lot of people, especially if, you deal with anxiety or depression, something like that. You get stuck in your gray areas. You can lose some of the outlets you usually join for fun because the change of seasons. Then you're home more often. You're not out. It's a tough time of year for a lot of people, dude. And they don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it. And that's where other issues come up, so it's important to realize people aren't alone. Like, find help, find outlets, talk to people about it, and try to find a way to get through those tough days because, dude, just get, the next day is a new opportunity. Like every day is literally a new opportunity. And sometimes we forget about that, so the holidays are tough though. They're definitely very tough.
Yeah, and I'll even tell you personally that they've been tough for me for the in the most recent memory, and I'm going to do the best I can this season, because I talked about with other people that the holidays can be a little bit rough time for me, not just from a mental health aspect, but also from a loneliness aspect. Like for instance, my father is no longer with us, unfortunately. My mother and my sister lived all the way down in Florida, and I have a brother that lives in Nevada. So it's basically just me up here in Jersey, just by myself. I have some friends and I have some other family members that we could still coagulate during the holidays or whatever, but sometimes it just doesn't feel the same. And I'm also single now. The last time we spoke, I was in a relationship and it was almost for 2 years, and I at least had that to fall back on. But now that's over and done with now, and it's kind of like a fresh start. But the point that I'm getting at is that life just continues going. Life just goes on, and you never know what's going to happen. Things always happen at the last minute or unexpected, so on and so forth. And it's just it could be overwhelming. And you make a great point about how social media just happens to seem to make things worse, because what people need to realize, and you mentioned this before on your video, that social media is not real. I mean, just because people are posting these pictures of like the holidays and having the perfect picture with the family and the perfect pie and the dinners and so on and so forth, it's all a facade. I mean, yeah, that may be happiness in the moment, but once that camera is off and you're not posting on social media, what's really going on in the back of somebody's brain?
That's 100%, dude. It's a fantasy land. Everybody's living their best life on social media, and then you know them in person and be like, dude, like that's so not what's going on in your life. It's not like everybody feels obligated to portray something. I'd rather be myself. Like, it's unfortunate because when you get stuck, if you're dealing with depression like that, you're really down on yourself. You're struggling with yourself. And you're like, why don't I have this? Or why don't I do this? Or why don't I feel like that? So it makes it very difficult. And that's why one of my recommendations, this is something I do myself, dude, is I will literally unplug from social media. I won't go. And like, it's tough because we do a Jet show. So a Jet show, you've got to be prominent on Twitter and Instagram and all this because you have to like network and all this other shit. But I'm like, you know what? I don't want to, because for my own well-being, I'd rather just not be involved. Like, I don't really care who got whatever. I just need to focus on my own happiness. And that is just unplugging and finding other outlets to be happy about or enjoy, or just keep yourself grounded or whatever and feeling all right about things. And then when you feel more comfortable and you're not going to whatever, then you know what? I'll go browse on or check things out and go back off again. It's like people need to understand, like, just find what makes you happy. Don't worry about other people think. Don't worry about other people's happiness. Just take care of yourself and make sure you're solid, and then worry about that stuff. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I've always been a big proponent also, especially as of recent, when I tell people that it's okay to look for help, especially professional help. But, I also understand that in some circumstances it's not feasible. It's not attainable because, it can be financial strains or whatever the case may be. But that you shouldn't allow that to stop you. Like, listen, I remember I was doing therapy for quite a while. And then afterwards, unfortunately, I had to stop it only because of monetary reasons. Otherwise, I would have kept on doing it. But I didn't let that be the end all be all. I actually had to just find different routes. Like for me, my new thing now is I'm walking 3 to 4 miles a day, not just for my own physical health, but also for my mental, because I realized that's actually worked for me. And, going back to me just staying consistent with the podcast and everything, I think one of the reasons why I stay consistent with it is because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I have purpose in this life after all, after living, 30 some odd years of thinking that there was nothing special about me in this world and I was just going to die just like a good little soldier like everybody else. And I'm glad that I was able to find something that was able to snap that out, snap me out of that mind frame. And I'm of the mindset that if I can do it, if somebody like me can do it, then anybody else can do it too. You just got to find that medium and what works for you. And, hopefully it just works for you. And also, what I also can't stress enough is that when somebody or anybody is just going through some tough times and then, they find anything that could help them cope with it and, just get it under control for the time being, don't think that that's just a cure-all and it's going to just fix it everything. It's something that you have to stay on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Same thing with physical, with professional help. I mean, I know people that have gone to therapy, because they needed to speak to somebody, going in with the mindset that, all right, let me see if like I can finally get out of this rut that I'm in, and then once I feel better, then I feel like I'm all cured and I'm ready to live my life. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to stay consistent with it. I mean, I know people that they live fantastic lives, they make great money and so on and so forth, but they still have their own mental problems. And I know somebody that's been still going for 17 years, even though he lives a great fucking life.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it takes a lot of courage to even ask for help, right? Like it's like
Yes.
even and a lot of people they can't afford the professional help or like the therapies like that, and then it's like, you know what? Then feel comfortable, take that step to talk to a friend about it. It could be a close friend, family member, but find somebody that you somewhat trust. But you know what? Can I talk about this? Like, reach out and find outlets. And there's free hotlines, there's online communities, there's all different outlets you can. It's just know that people want to help you and people are willing to listen. Like I think that the stigma, which we always talk about, is it's like it's frowned upon and people are going to judge you. You can't worry about that because the most important thing is getting the help that you need. And a lot of times it's just talking about it. Like I went through this probably it was over the summertime. I was going through a real tough time with family, just shit going on. And you're like,
The barbecue.
yeah. And
Yeah.
you're sitting there and it's like, and this was a good friend of mine that we're hanging out. And I was like, you know what? I gotta get this out of my head. Like I gotta talk to somebody, but it's just driving me wild, And the weirdest thing happened, dude. I talked to him. He was like, dude, he's like, I had the same thing happen to me. I'm like, you've got to be kidding. Like, and it was just like, boom. First of all, talking to him about it, it was like dude, I felt like this 5,000-pound boulder went off my shoulder. And then he's like, here's how I dealt with it. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, and he's like, dude, you ever like, it was just like, wow. Like we talk about it all. Me and you talked to so many times, like when you need help, reach out and talk to somebody. And
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I thought I was doing okay, but I was really struggling. I couldn't figure out what. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to tell this dude, it was a good friend of mine. And it's like, dude, within a day, I'm like, all right, back on track. Now I have like, I know what my plan needs to be. I know what to do going forward. And that's what I did. And it's so important, man. Like you got to find things that, first of all, you got to find somebody you can talk to. You got to definitely talk about it and get help. And the second thing is more importantly is you mentioned it, dude. You have to find things you genuinely enjoy that help you escape the problem times. And it doesn't have like, I think a lot of times people think they do what they think they're supposed to enjoy. Like I have to go to gym because I have to enjoy the gym or I have to enjoy that. When you have that mindset, you're not going to enjoy it. You literally have to enjoy it. So that could be like, dude, it could be playing chess. It could be playing guitar. It could be building sheds, whatever it is, dude. But find something that's truly your passion. And that's what's going to help you get through those tougher times and identifying what it is. And, like I talked to somebody a couple of days ago. They're like, man, I really don't know. Like I live alone and by myself. I don't have a lot of friends. I'm like, well, then there's a lot of things going on in the community. Like you go on any social media app they have, like even Facebook events, you can find things, or there's forums, there's all kinds of things you could find to network and meet new people and try to get your foot in the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you've been doing phenomenal things, with mental health advocacy, and so on and so forth. And I'm always gonna, show you the appreciation and the respect for that. But I also know that you're just like everybody else, and you're just like me, where you have your moments. And what is it besides the obvious things that you've mentioned already? Like, what are some of the things that you do personally to get you out of that rut when you feel like you're in it? Besides just having that person to talk to, like, what are the things that you would do if you were by yourself to try to get out of this that mind frame that you get every now and then?
I unplug, man. I unplug from social media. I stay away from that. I don't watch the news. I just, for me, running and being outside, even like I'm crazy, dude. Like cold weather doesn't bother me. I just got to get out of the house and just put music on, my favorite music, and just escape. Same like you. I do a lot of podcasts. I do videos. I watch Netflix series. I watch YouTube concerts. I just escape the world, dude. No news, no social media. Just kind of like, all right, I got to regroup here and figure it out. And working out, stuff like that. It's all I can do, man. You got to figure it out. Like I know what my triggers are now. I've learned that over the years, what's going to trigger me and set me back a little bit. And now it's like, all right, I know what that is. And now I know what's going to help me deal with it better other than talking to somebody.
Right. I've been on your platform before and you've been on my platform before, and we've talked about Jets and we've talked about mental health and so on and so forth. And when it comes to the subject of mental health, one of the things that I really love, not just getting it out in the open and just talking about it and spreading our message, but the reception that we've been getting thus far from the several episodes that we've been getting has been immensely great. And, I really appreciate everybody that has listened and shout out and, personally thank both of us on separate occasions about talking about this and so on and so forth. But I also feel that unfortunately, there's this big stigma that still exists out there because there are going to be those pessimists. There are going to be those people that are going to put it down and think that it's not real, and you need to snap out of it, get out of that mindset. So do you ever come across those moments, like whether it's personally or even on the comments on social media or on YouTube about those people that are pessimists, and then how do you deal with it?
Honestly, I don't really give a shit. I'm like, because the message is too important. So for every one troll or jerk that doesn't want to listen or comprehend it, you're helping somebody else, man. That's the most important thing. If these messages help one person, I'll take that one person getting help over the 25 people trying to discount it or talk about it, and
Right.
it is what it is. Like, and I think what some people don't understand is there's a big difference between somebody having a bad day, like you trip down the steps, like that, or somebody that deals with depression. There's a significant difference. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate people think that way, and they think they can't relate. And if you can't relate, that's fine. That don't watch it, don't listen, I don't care, because the feedback that we're getting, the conversations we have, and I think what helps us with this kind of stuff is that people they're reacting to us anonymously, so they can say what they're really dealing with, and they're not worried about being judged. And that's the problem with the stigmas around mental health. People are scared about being judged, right? So it's not easy doing this. Like when you do this, what we're doing right now, we're going to get judged. It's bold. It's a risk to it, because now people think, oh, that's this person that deals with this. I don't care, dude.
Yeah.
I want to help people. It's important. Like you see people struggling. You see stories almost every day where the high rates of suicide and people like all these different things. It's too prominent. So I don't care about the bad reactions. I mean, for me, the good 1,000% outweighs the bad. So, and then the people that do say stuff, you counter them with kindness, man. That's kind of how it works,
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way as well. I mean, because it sucks that every now and then you get those pessimists that are saying that, like, yo, depression is not a real thing. You got to get out of that mindset. You got to stop following everybody else just because they're saying depressed and they're depressed and everything. At the end of the day, I just, maybe 10 years ago I would have been like, go fuck yourself, or go to the extreme. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to be more focused on the people that this actually is helping, because at the end of the day, that's what we're doing it for. We're not doing it for the pessimists. And who knows, maybe that person that's being a pessimist is really suffering inside. They just don't want to admit it, or they just won't come out of their shell. Maybe they're probably worse off than we are. Who knows? But at the end of the day,
that's the internet, dude. Like I'm telling you, man, we do Jet stuff, dude, and you'll get a couple hundred comments. You'll get like 10 people that just rip you to shreds for no reason. Like you can do a 15-minute on Zach Wilson, and I'll get like, I hate your hat, I hate your shirt, your posters, or like there's people that are just out there that are just miserable people, or just looking to antagonize you. And to me, it's like mental health is serious. If you want to discount it, then I'm not for you. But it's helping people, man. Like it's important, and it's a conversation that has to be had. And if it takes us doing so to kind of trigger somebody else to maybe create their own mental health show or talk about it or grow, even better. Like that's the whole goal of all this. Like we're not experts. Like we just deal with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like never once we say, hey, you have to do this. We're trying to create an environment where it's have a conversation about it and tell us what helps you. Like you may say, hey, you know what? I do this. This helps me. Wonderful. I'll learn from that. Like we're all trying to learn and help at the same time.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you 100%. And, you were talking about some of the things that you do, about how you cope with it, and, you get through these stuff, everything that you go through and so on and so forth. You recently just did a race not too long ago. I mean, you've been doing these things for quite a while, but I really want to talk about the most recent one that you just did not long ago. Well, tell me what that experience was like for you.
Well, part of the whole mental health thing is I wear a shirt that says "Break the Silence." So
I own it.
Yeah, I thank you for that. So
You're welcome.
I've taken up running as a hobby to kind of escape the world. Like I box and kickbox. I train at MMA gym, but you're always around people, and it's like you can't really escape there. So I've taken up running as an escape, and I try to raise awareness while doing that. So the race I did on Saturday in Philadelphia, it was actually two races. It was a 5K. It was a 5K race, and the minute you're done with that, you got to line back up and run a 10-mile race. So it's basically the equivalent of a half marathon. And then if you complete that, it's like the Italian Stallion Challenge. It's called the Rocky Run. But
Okay.
the cool thing is, like, you wear, the shirt I have, it's black and bold letters and just raising awareness. People look at you kind of like, all right, what's up? And dude, it's a sport that I really enjoy. It's challenging mentally and physically, and it's helping raise a little more awareness and kind of, getting things out there a little bit. So it's hard. It's taken I've learned a lot about nutrition and hydration and everything else, but it's been an experience, man.
Yeah, and is it also crazy how, well, maybe not crazy, maybe that's not the right word, but liberating that, what kind of gets you through this is knowing the fact that you've been already through so much in your life already, that this is basically just adding fuel to the fire to, doing something like that extreme.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's new challenges, man. I think everybody needs challenges in life. You things that motivate you, keep you inspired, and take on new things. And it's just something, like, I'm a big David Goggins guy, man. I think his book literally changed my life. His mindset, and I read his book twice. It just really, when you're kind of lost in life and you can't figure things out, his book got me so just like, you turn the page and I'm like, now you kind of embrace it. Like, you want to challenge yourself mentally, challenge yourself physically, and overcome adversity and have that kind of keep going on mindset. You know what I mean? So, but it's just cool. Like, when we can accomplish a lot more than we realize. And that's something that I struggle with, where you're kind of like, this ain't going to go nowhere. And you keep doubting yourself. Then you prove yourself wrong. You're like, well, all right, you can do this. And that's something that's important. We all can remember that. You know what I mean? We always, like, we can't set goals that are unrealistic. You can't say, no, it's my first day running, I want to do a half marathon in 2 weeks. No, it's not going to work. But if you set short-term and long-term goals, it helps you cope with other things. And that's what, dude, it's helped me a lot. Running's helped me a lot, dude, because it's just like, all right, I want to do whatever, a triathlon or a marathon, whatever it is. All right, I got to set my goals every 3 months and try to meet them. And it keeps you moving forward and staying positive.
Yeah. Before you actually got into the whole running thing, was there other things that you were trying to figure out? And did it take you a long time to realize that running was actually one of the things that really worked out for you? Like, did you try different other things and they just didn't work out until you found out that running was more feasible?
Well, I mean, I box and kickbox, and the problem, I love the sport, dude. I love it. I cannot get enough of it. But the problem is you get hurt. You get injuries, and then it becomes very, very frustrating when you can only punch with one hand and you're getting punched in the face 6 times. And it's not a fun time when you start. Like, it's a great sport when you're healthy. When you get banged up, you can't train as much, and then it gets frustrating. So I had to find other things, man. It's just something that it's just an escape. But like I love going to concerts too. Like, I go to as many concerts as possible. So it's just, but yeah, you gotta keep finding something else, and you get. The other thing too with certain hobbies, you make it stagnant, man, where you're like, you know what, you've been doing it a while now. How do you spice it up? How do you change it? Or do you got to find something else? Like actually, it was funny. A friend of mine just posted this on Instagram about an hour ago. He's a very accomplished MMA fighter that retired. He retired maybe a year ago, but he's really, really good. And he's like, now you have that almost that empty feeling where it's like, now what? Like, I accomplished this great goal, but it gave him something to always strive for. And now he's missing that in his life. Like, what should he do? And I responded back to him like, conquer a new goal, dude. You're a phenomenal athlete. Find something else that you can do it. Like Paul Felder, UFC fighter. He was, great fighter. He stopped doing that. Now he's a triathlete. He's doing like crazy extreme challenges. Like, just keep finding new things to challenge yourself mentally and physically, and you'll be okay.
What are some of those new things that you've been discovering yourself to get out of it?
Well, these races are crazy, man. The training for these races are crazy. And I keep I did the Goggins challenge. Now I'm doing half marathons and all these other things. And now I'll probably try I'm gonna try a triathlon, I think, is next, and a half marathon. I'm just keep just push your body to another level, man. Like, I just want to be try to do things people can't do. It's like a lot of people talk about it. I want to be about it. I want to say, you know what? I'm trying this. And if you fail, who cares? Because it's a once in a lifetime experience. Like, we only have one life to live. So might as well try everything we can. So I'm kind of crazy, but we'll see.
Yeah, but you know what? What makes me appreciate about your quote unquote craziness when it comes to these things is that you're not doing it for yourself, because there's other people that could be in your shoes and do what you do, but they're only doing it for themselves, or they want to do it for the accolades, or they want to do it for the views and the likes and so on and so forth. You don't strike me off as the kind of guy that does that. I mean, you strike me as somebody that's doing it for a bigger purpose. And I think that's why so many people, as modest as I know how you are, but I think that's why I feel that so many people have gravitated toward what you've been doing and seeing what you've been doing on social media and doing on YouTube and following you, and just making strides, not just as a person, as a content creator, but as just somebody that people can rely on. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't just have you on my show because you're a hell of a content creator, but I genuinely love having you on the show and just even talking to you in person because you get it, bro. You get it, and you're not doing it for any other reason than just for seeing it for the bigger picture. It's not about you. It's not about Tyson. It's for anybody that needs help.
That's it, man. That's like we're all in this together. I always say it. Like it's like nobody's bigger than the other person. Like I don't give a shit if you have 100,000 subscribers or 10. Like who cares? Like it's just like this. We only have one life, dude. And like people just need to try to maximize it and be their best selves. And for a lot of people, it's difficult. That's just a fact. Yeah. And it's like you should see the messages I get, dude. And it's like heartbreaking. And I'm like, dude, you know what? Start reading a book. Start like there's something you can do. But the feelings you're having now, they can't sit around for a week. You got to find a way to get out of it sooner. So if you can inspire somebody or motivate somebody, and a lot of times getting in better shape helps people. You literally feel better about yourself. So it's like anything I could do to help, man, because like I said, I've had people that have left this world way too soon. It's sad. It sucks. And the thing is, you're seeing it a lot more now in just society that, these things are happening a lot more frequently than they should be. And it's great that there's a lot of celebrities and super rock stars and athletes that are actually talking about it now. Like there's a much bigger platform now. People are actually being more outspoken about it. Jay Glazer's doing an incredible job being so open about it, and it's helping. It's just getting it out there. So, like you said, dude, I can give two shits about likes and stuff like that. Like I'm just more about just try to share the message, inspire people, help people, and if it makes them talk about it more or make them share it to somebody else, that's all that really matters, dude.
100%. I agree with you, man. Yeah, well, listen, Tyson, it's always a pleasure talking to you, man. I mean, I've had you on the show for a third time, expected for another 3 more. I always said that you're a modest guy and you don't think highly of yourself, and I respect that and I appreciate that. But you're fucking kicking ass, man. I know you talk about me all the time about how I'm kicking ass and doing so on and so forth, but it's people like you that keep me going and wanting to do it. So, much appreciated for you coming on the show again. Always a pleasure to talk to you, whether it's on the air or when it's on, personal on phone or texting or social media, whatever. Just thanks a lot for doing this again, man. I'm always going to appreciate it.
Well, dude, I'm proud of you, man. Because look, one thing people don't do is they don't realize what they actually accomplished. Like we're always hard on ourselves, right? We're always like, well, this didn't happen, and you don't recognize all the successes you've had, right? You don't realize how far you've actually come. So look how far you've come, dude. From our first time we talked to like you didn't know how to freaking put the thing on Twitter. Right. And now where you right. I remember all the
yeah.
And look where you're at now. Like you're doing so many great things and making such a positive impact. And you're developing into a very good, content creator, a podcast and all that stuff, dude. So it's an honor, dude. It's so cool talking to you. And it's so cool seeing that passion that you have in your eye. Like you can see like you're proud, you're feeling good and you're doing good. And it's awesome, dude. Seriously, anything you ever want, I'm down. But enjoy your successes, dude. Because I'm so impressed. Like I'm jealous. I'm like, I don't get that shit. I don't have those studio interviews and stuff like that. I'm talking to freaking cartoon characters on a YouTube channel.
Hey man, but you're doing your own thing. I mean, you're still kicking ass regardless, man. But that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of First Class Second Place. I want to thank my guest Tyson Rauch of Let's Talk Jets for coming on once again. Where can they find you again on social media?
We're on YouTube, Let's Talk Jets, and I'm just at TRauch21 on Twitter and TRauch2121 on Instagram. And you want to direct message me and talk mental health, I'm 1,000. I answer all my messages, dude. I'm insane. Like I have like OCD or something. I answer every tweet, every comment. So if you want to talk about this, hit me up. I'm down.
Awesome, man. And also, I just wanted to point out, man, I know you've been on my ass about this for a long time, but finally, this is our 3rd episode, but this is finally going to be on YouTube. Finally, man. I know you were on my ass about that for the long time, man, but at least I got it done now. I got it done.
No, I'm glad, dude. Seriously, man, you're doing an awesome job. Be proud of what you're doing. It's about time for videos, dude. It's a whole new outlet for you.
Yeah, it's about time people see that beautiful face of yours, man.
Of yours. I'm here for the jokes.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, you can follow me on Enrique _ on Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget to follow the First Class Second Place podcast page on Instagram as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe officially on YouTube. This has been the First Class Second Place podcast. We out.